we'll get started. We'll call the meeting to order. It is 12:05. And I think this time we're gonna go around and just introduce ourselves in the room and then also online. So if we want to start in the room, we can start with you.
Dakota Mize, Community Engagement Specialist with board staff.
Karen Halsey, board contract manager.
Karen Fight, IT manager, board staff. Sydney, admin assistant, board staff. Kendra Ball, business and outreach manager, board staff.
Leanne Baird, Texas Regional Pathway Network Coordinator, board staff.
Asian Crowley, childcare contract manager, board staff.
Steve Holloway, Wichita Falls Trades and Labor Council.
Billy Clark, Electros, helping local people.
Linda Whitaker, largest flag.
American National Bank and Trust, and the Trust Department.
Michelle Wood, Wichita Falls ISD, encouraging education.
Kenny Miller, Region 9 Education Service Center.
Andy Louis.
I'm Rhonda Schreiber. I'm with Humana.
Lisa McDaniel, executive director.
Shelley Donaldson, I'm the infant toddler specialist for childcare.
Tiffany Jones, I'm the client service manager for childcare.
Cynthia Humphrey, special projects coordinator with Texas.
Donna Ferguson with Nortex.
Silva QA with.
Sandy Starr, program manager with Equity.
Ginger Hannah, business and employment services manager, with workforce equity. Boyd, vice president of operations.
Crystal Hill with Equity.
Tom Ostovich, Business Services Workforce.
Okay, let's have introductions online if you can.
I'm Vicki Holland, Petrolia, Texas, Holland Land and Cattle.
Terry Adams, MacTech Solutions.
Donna Adams, the program director for the child care with Workforce Solutions, North Texas.
Jim Scholander, Barron Brothers Feed Store.
Lauren Bush, City of Seymour.
Derek Welch, Midwestern State University.
Michael Blevins,
Vernon College.
I'm Chelsea Lewis with Lewis Learning Center.
Sochi Pruitt with Region 9 Adult Education and Literacy.
Julie Young, Wichita Adult Literacy Council.
Cheryl, did you introduce yourself? Sorry. Your mute's on.
We got it.
Okay, we got you.
Sorry, it's hard to talk without that on.
Okay. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
And then.
For
For the record.
the record. She's here. Okay.
I did the walk of shame.
Okay, do we have any public comment? Okay, let's move to the approval of the June 2025 board meeting on pages 2 to 6. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Billy, how about a second?
I'll second.
And let's bring it to a poll. Those of you joining via Zoom. Yes. Okay, back to the room. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay. Okay, items for discussion. Lisa.
Yes. So on page 7, you're going to find our draft budget for the upcoming year for 2026. And we've received most of our grants that we are going to receive. And so this just kind of gives you a breakdown of last year's expenditures. You'll see over on the right-hand column, and then our estimated expenditures for FY 2026. As you all know, we were cut almost $200,000 in our WIOA funds. We received a little bit more in some of the pots and a little less in some, but overall about 195,000 actually. So we've had some other staff members that have been hired at the board. So we've gone out for other grants. And so we've kind of offset that amount of our income that's coming in. And I'll talk a little bit later during my part of other grants that we are writing at this time, trying to get more money to come in as well. But you can see that we're actually, for our estimate for expenditures, we're coming in just a little bit under what we did last year. You know, we've really had to just look at some expenditures, such as memberships and things that I really have control of that I can cut back on. You know, some things we just can't help, like our leases and utilities and things of that nature. But there are some items that I can control. So travel, things like that. So really, you know, trying to watch it, but I think that, you know, we're set up pretty good, honestly. So that's why there is an increase you'll see in salaries again, because we do have that one extra position. I will tell you that the state of Texas and our record of employer is also recommending they are actually doing a 3% cost of living raise. And so I have actually been able to include that in this proposal. So again, it is draft. Like I said, we haven't received all of our contracts just yet, but the proposed funding that the state has given us, the contracts that we have received have been for that proposed amount. So I feel pretty confident that the rest that to come in are going to be the same way. So just requesting again your approval for this going forward. And again, hopefully we will have more income coming in to offset even those cuts moving forward. So, and I'll talk about those a little bit later. Any questions?
We just comment on professional services. I also think about that too. Is there any compromise there or anything?
On professional services, okay, so that went from 110 to 52,000. So that is going to be our monitoring that we have planned. And why, Sharon?
Yeah, I think we just overestimated last year. Because
Okay.
we have not spent that much in our professional services. So there is a decrease in that.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so let's bring this to a vote. Do we have a motion? Billy? Linda? Okay, and we'll bring this to participants online for the poll to approve the budget.
That would be D.
Okay. Back in the room, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Passes. We'll move on to reports. Pages 8 through 51 will be sharing with the monitoring committee.
Okay, we did meet just yesterday, it was longer than that, yesterday for the monitoring committee. It was a quick meeting, we had several reports to go over. The first one, we did get a response back from TWC on our EO monitoring that we had to submit in January. So that was their report on that. We do have a cap in place for two issues at, Bowie and Vernon locations that we're working with the landlord to try to get those adjusted, or whether that would be a area that can't be adjusted to be ADA compliant. So, but overall, that was a very good report on the EO. We covered that yesterday. Next, on page 9, from the review that PwC or that Diaz Smith and Associates did for our review earlier in 25, they needed to complete this section of their allocation testing. They didn't have it complete by the time they gave us their report so that we could present to TWC in May. So they presented us with that report on allocation testing. If you go over to page 11, there were no exceptions, no issues found. So it was clean still on that. So just making you aware of that was completed. DS review. Another thing, on the pages 14 through 51, there's a lot of it. Part of our contracting with our subrecipients and part of state requirement is that we have to do a fiscal assessment with the subrecipients. So Diaz handles that for us as well, DSA. So this is their report on those. So I'm gonna flip to page 48 because that's where they give their determination of their reviews. They also did the risk assessment and the monitoring plan on this at the same time. So starting on page 48 was their determinations of the fiscal integrity. And there were a few little minor things under category 1. And I've already received some information from Rolling Plains on that one. All the others that they are materially in compliance, and that's what you'll usually see when audits are done for this purpose. So there wasn't anything noted that either subrecipient would be an issue in continuing to do services with them. So we will be going forth with contract renewals in October for both subrecipients. And we just want to present it to the board to let you know that yes, it has been completed. You know, we're good on that. Lisa and I both reviewed that. So any questions on any of these documents? It's a lot of pages, but all good.
How long was the audit?
Pardon? How long was what?
Was the audit?
How long was the audit? It was long, right, Crystal? And Donna?
Yeah, because they just got this report to us, so it has on there when they started it. Their review period, please read. Okay, Anthony. I think I'm
I think that's a period was there.
You know, and they review like they've already had, you know, several reviews on the same subject.
Yeah.
So they have that history too, but it's reviewing 3 years of financial
It
information.
was in depth.
Yes.
They actually started it in, I think they did the request for documents like in January. And we're gonna try to be through with it by May, by the time the TWC auditors
So that was,
and so,
but this one is one that they just recently did.
yeah, so it's,
Darn it. Where is that? She knows what day she had to upload this stuff.
Yeah.
Donna.
it was a couple of
Yeah.
months. It was a couple of months. It took them to do this, because they look at everything, so. But I can get you for sure.
I think it's just kudos to the team then.
Yeah, because there were no major
Great
issues,
job.
and they are, we're always being audited, so. Always under review.
Any more questions on that? We'll move back to Lisa.
You're not through.
Oh,
You
you're
go
not
ahead.
done?
Yeah, she's not through.
I'm gonna go with page 52 on the spending report, just to see if there's any questions on it to let you know where we're at as of July 31st on our grant spending. As you can see, some of our older grants that were issued in 23, those are falling off, especially the WIOAs, and they're a 2-year grant, so those are about done. And we have some new ones down at the bottom that we haven't started on yet, or very little usage. So that's where our grants are at, the money that we have coming in from TWC that we can access for services to our communities. And then, no questions on that. The next one is the procurement list that we provide to you for a 12-month rolling procurement of items and a subtotal on the last column of that vendor that we're doing business with. Just so if you had any questions about procurement, then we could pull records for you and show you what we got for those items.
Just a question on something like Amazon.
Yeah.
Like nobody looks at mine. We don't have to really worry about how much we spend with Amazon because they're not a.
Well, there is that historical, I mean, not historical, but for like this 12-month total, that's being $3,400. That's still a minor or a micro purchase, because the purchase level has now been raised to $10,000. And actually, we wouldn't even have to do bids, but quotes, but we still go and get quotes on all of these supplies. And we still have the Amazon is the one that is a better price. So, I'll that answers your question.
I wasn't aware you were getting quotes on.
Yeah, even the micros like that, we're still, just as our best practice, we're getting quotes. I mean, sometimes there may be only one provider on a micro purchase like that, but we do have documentation to support all of these purchases.
We get 3 quotes for anything we buy, whether it's toilet paper or a computer. So Sydney can tell you that. Because we do try to get the best value. So, yeah.
Which. Amazon too.
Yeah.
Gets you there, but I just didn't know if we had a limit with Amazon to spend each year.
The thresholds for the procurement methods, we had $10,000 on the micro purchases, and now there's a $250,000 that covers up through small purchases, which we also do the free bids on. If it went over the $250,000, then you'd probably have to move to a formal procurement level of procuring. Great. All right, Lisa, I think I'm done now.
Okay.
Good question.
All right. So I told y'all I was going to talk a little bit about other monies that we like to have coming in. And this is grant writing season. So Kendra is very, very busy right now writing some extra grants for us in addition to what you see on that list. So we are in the process of writing for the 2026 Extern for Teachers grant. It's changed a little bit this upcoming year, and we can apply for up to $200,000. And we are looking to increase our teachers this year. The first year we did it, we went for 25. This year we went 35. We're going to go for 50 this next year. So they've upped the amount that the teachers can receive on their stipends. And so it's a little bit different. So those applications are due on the 9th of September. So we're going for that grant again. We're also applying for a private grant through, it's actually Texas Mutual, and it's the Workforce Development and Safety Training Grant. And it's an opportunity to allow us to have more flexibility with some of our customers that come in that need something like very quickly, and they don't have to go through sometimes the rigorous eligibility process of WIOA and, you know, something that we could turn around and give them quickly. Let's say if they needed just a driver's license, birth certificate, social security cards, that they're trying to go and they have a job offer tomorrow. And so it's just a little bit more flexibility in helping us bridge that gap of funding. So we do go out for these private grants. That one is due on September the 12th. So again, she's very busy. And so it will really help create those strong pathways, you know, for middle skill jobs and just, again, help us with that flexibility, which we really like. And then the very last one that she's working on that's due October the 1st is a workforce readiness training for CTE students. And we really don't know what the amount of the award is going to be. We can ask for up to $2 million, which we will not, obviously, because we'll be asking probably for much less than that. But this is open to other entities. And so it specifically benefits those career and technical education students within our local ISDs. And they would receive workforce readiness training, different soft skills like time management, professionalism, communication, problem solving. So we will collaborate with our educational institutions and our industry partners on this to help align the grant's objectives. So on that note, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Leanne because she's going to explain a little bit more and give you some information on kind of what she's working on that is in relation to this. So
good afternoon, everybody. So as the tech, I'm just going to say TRPN, so you don't have to listen to me say that 500 times. The purpose of the grant, like I said, the last board meeting was that we are really trying to ensure that pathways are being created that are successful for our students. We know that there's gaps, obviously, and that's one of the things that we are trying to bridge with like this grant that we are looking at now. But with that, we are really looking for the expertise of the people that are in this room, as well as our community. They're not, look away, Michelle. So there are some things, and first I do want to give credit to Michelle because she was here at the last board meeting and she was talking about some of the challenges that she is having with the way TEA has changed things and requiring our younger students to be involved at the CEC, where she is actively hosting classes and you have young kids coming through, and that can be disruptive as we know, you know, and there's safety concerns there too. So she was talking about some little toolkits that she is working on. And with that, we are in the process of building toolkits as well that we are going to hopefully have where ISDs can either check out or we can utilize Sandy's team to be out in the schools because that's what they're doing and they do a great job of that to help get some more career exploration to hopefully take some of this off of our educators' plates. We know that our educators have full plates and we are trying to help them as best as we can. I know not everybody in here is an educator. However, we also want to help the industries. So how do we do that? How are we bridging these gaps? So I do have a survey that I would like all of you to complete. There is one for educator, there is one for industry. I do have them with me. I'm gonna pass them out if y'all don't mind. At the end, you can just leave them there and we'll collect them. But this is to help us to just ensure that we are gathering that information so we can present it appropriately and say why we need these grants and how to further bridge the gaps. Even not just my program, but with WIOA and some of the other programs that you have heard about forever being part of this board. Do you have any questions for me?
and for those online, we have put those links to this survey in the chat. So they're available to you as well if you would not mind completing those, and then you could just send those back to us.
It will automatically,
Oh, it'll automatically?
it'll automatically come straight to me once you complete those.
And
ones.
these, if y'all can
Thank
fill
you.
them out, you know, we don't want you to not listen to what's going on in the rest of the meeting. However, if you fill them out today, that just halts the process, but whatever you can do.
And we
She's
can.
got the educator
Can
with
we
I
send
have
this
the
out to
industry,
everybody
so
too,
I'm gonna
that we
do
do
that.
our virtual?
Yeah, and also I will be sending these out too because I'm going to, she has the industry one. Do I have any other educators? I will be sending these out because I would appreciate that all of you share with your partner who you're working with. We want as many responses as we can get so we can ensure that we are capturing the real needs of not just Wichita Falls, but all of our 11 county radius. Thank you.
Lynn. Thank you. And the last thing that I do have for my report actually is there are some upcoming board expirations at the end of September. So I have an email in draft that I will be notifying those of your term if you're coming up. I absolutely would love for you to stay on. So there's quite a few, and just be expecting that. I was not able, my printer quit working. We're out of black ink on our back printer, and I forgot to ask somebody else to print it out for me before I came. So I don't have the list in front of me. So, but I will be getting that to you this afternoon. So be looking for that. And I don't know, I can't even tell you who's on the list, honestly. So
Is there a maximum term limit?
there is not. There is not. So you cannot get off that easy, Glenda. No, there is no maximum that anyone can serve. So
30 years, I don't know.
No, denied. Denied.
Yeah, we're like the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
You're never getting off.
And then the actual final thing on my thing, if everybody would turn to page, where is it? Let me see. 58. 58. In case you haven't looked at this report, this is a letter that I received back in June from the Texas Veterans Commission about one of our very own staff at our workforce center. And so at this time, Mr. Tom Ostovich, would you please come up here, and Crystal? So you may remember in the past several years, 2 or 3 years in a row, I think, our unit here, the business service unit here in Wichita Falls, has been nominated and received the Business Service Team of the Year. Well, this year, it wasn't just the team of the year. They nominated Tom as the business service person of the year. He actually gets, or has probably already received, it's on the okay, so then you'll get checks in the mail. He actually gets like a bonus for this too. So our TVC partners are the ones that nominated him. They are actually out of town this week in training, so they could not be here. But I wanted to make sure that Tom was presented this again in front of the board, and to let you all know what a great job Tom does, in addition to the entire business service team. You know, we all work together as a team. No one of us can do this together. Absolutely. So congratulations, Tom. I wanted you all to recognize him.
To the board, that was your last hire.
Tom does everything for us, whether it is hauling chairs across the building, moving tables. I mean, he does it all, so very much appreciated.
You're welcome.
And would you take the time to say anything? Okay,
About this or about there?
anything you want to talk
Yes,
about?
I want to talk
He's
about.
taking advantage of that.
And you can put it back now on, not where they can see it. I'll let him talk.
I won't take too long, but I want to mention to you 3 big events we have coming up in the next September, October, November. Next week, have the Winkto hiring event. We're helping them staff the new store that's going to open up on October the 13th. 225 positions to have part-time and full-time. It's gonna be a 3-day event here, 9 to 4, and we're expecting between 500 and 600 people to come. So it's gonna be an incredible event,
What dates did you?
September 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I have some flyers here. So we are preparing, we've been preparing for this for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That's been about 95% of my time. So logistics and, well, 95% of my time the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
Anyway, second thing I want to talk to you about is, this is kind of a passion of mine. It's the first time we did it was last year, but a lot of times I have employers come to me and say, I can't find employees that want to work, or I can't keep employees. And I always talk to them about an overlooked and untapped resource we have around here. It's the justice impacted population. You know, about 1/3 of our working population has had some sort of justice issue. You know, our unemployment around this area is around 3.67%. The justice impacted is 25%. So 25% is looking for an opportunity. So, you know, there's so many benefits to hiring someone who's been justice impacted. You know, it's about, the retention rates are about 20% higher because they are grateful for the opportunity they're given. And they tend to be more loyal employees. Recidivism is about 60%. And it's just a ripple effect to our economy. You get these people to work, and just more money is coming our economy. One thing I keep thinking is, we're having new businesses open up in town, Winco, Amazon, numerous businesses. And our population at this point is not growing. So where are we going to get all these people? This is a really untapped market. Last year, we held our first event here. We were limited to 14 employers because of the size, and we really had a big showing of people. So this year, on October 9th, we're moving to Sykes Center Mall. So we can have a lot more employers available for that. And this year, something else we're doing, which I'm real excited about, we're gonna try to get job seekers from all our 11 counties to this event. So we're working with Rolling Plains to provide transportation to the mall, so they have the opportunity also to benefit from this great event. So I'm excited about this. A lot of planning, a lot of logistics here, but that's what I love doing. So, and the last event I just want to put on your radar is hiring Red, White, and U. What number? I can't remember the number. 13, 14, 12, something like that. Annual. I thought Kendra would know off the top of her head.
I thought you were asking.
No, annual hiring Red, White, and U. What number?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It's like
in-
15
It's
or
in the
something.
team, it's in the team, so, team somewhere. We have that scheduled on November 18th, 11 to 2, at the Bill Bartley YMCA. We have it back in the gymnasiums. We usually have 80 to 90 employers there. And this is the event where we really focus on the veteran population. And we try to get a lot of employers that love hiring veterans. So it's a great event. We love it. We have an opening ceremony. We usually have one high school bring out the color guard. One high school brings out a band to play the national anthem, or we either have one of our own sing. I'm not gonna tell you who that was. I'm not gonna, and Lisa does a great job. Lisa and Ginger do a great job in opening ceremony speaking, and we always have a representative from TWC who comes and gives a speech. So it's a great event. I just want to put it on your radar. And thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Tom.
Healthcare. Let's move on to Donna.
Do you have a report you want to give before Donna?
It's super short because we just had our childcare advisory council meeting, so we kind of want to report on some stuff that we talked about, which is actually some really good stuff, some not so good stuff.
sure that you've seen in the headlines, there's an issue with staffing in childcare centers. That's something that we are going to be definitely talking about, especially with our childcare quality funds. Since our plan is due on the 31st of October, so, just know that, we're gonna try everything within our centers that are contracted with us to help out our providers as much as possible. Sorry, Tom totally caught me off guard. Other than that, us as a board, or in my position, as well as the mentors, for the Texas Rising Star mentors, we're out in the community a lot. We are participating with the Early Childhood Coalition. I have joined the committee for the Texas Association for the Education of Young Children, and we are starting that up. We have a connections committee meeting on October 11th, which I'm really excited about. It's a fantastic opportunity for early childhood educators to come and get some learning and some educating hours, and we're gonna have some speakers. And so as a whole, our community engagement part of early childhood is like really ramping up, and I feel like everybody is kind of like working in together. Different committees throughout our communities and stuff are talking. I've got several people from Region 9 on my committee for the for the Child Care Advisory Council. There's just a lot of stuff that's happening right now that I think is really good. We're taking a step forward and advocating for our kiddos in these positions that they're in, and the parents as well. And I think that that's fantastic, because as long as like we're in the background doing all the work that we need to do to, help everybody in this community, for their kiddos, for the parents, for these families, I think that's a fantastic step forward. So that's a lot of stuff that we talked about too. We heard from providers on how they're feeling with their parents, with our new system. There's just a lot of really good communication, a very productive meeting. And there's another resource that TWC came out with, and it's the Early Childhood Texas.gov website. I was actually on it earlier. Fantastic resource for parents and families. There's an eligibility screener on there that you can check to see if you are eligible for childcare, for being a part of our program. There's health and nutrition. There's extra additional education at home. There's stuff for parents, stuff for any guardians for children. And I think that's fantastic. And TWC is also going to be bringing out a new grant soon. We don't have all the details on it, but it is kind of expansion oriented, which is fantastic, because we haven't had anything in a long time. So it's like when you're really, really hungry and you see a piece of cake and you finally get to eat it. So I'm very excited to get more details on that. Other than that, I mean, everything's going in the right direction. Like I said, we did talk about the staffing issues, and of course, that's always going to be very hard, because it is a thankless job. I mean, you're sitting in a classroom with kids all day long, and there's really not any breaks. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot of passion for somebody to sustain that for a long period of time. But we're in the background working on ways that we can help these providers keep their staff, retain their staff, and offering up like education opportunities to the CDA program at Vernon. So lots of good stuff, some not so great stuff, but we're moving in the right direction, which is fantastic. That's all for me.
Donna?
I'm here.
Okay.
So some program updates that we've had, we only have 11 entry-level designation providers left to become TRS certified. We brought 7 more in July on to being TRS certified, so that's good. We're on track. We're not behind on any of that. There's some few TechPed shout outs. What that means is that the assistant director and director are signed up for TechPeds, and then the percentage of their staff also have TechPeds accounts. We have 2 Children Come First and Stepping Stones that are at 99%. Children's Corner and K&A are at 50%. So we're still working diligently trying to get all of our centers and staff of them to become on our TechPeds. Sorry, I'm under the weather, so I apologize. Learning Depot, in the paperwork, it says that they're gonna be opening 3 new classrooms to accommodate infants all the way to age 5. They have actually already opened those. Those opened, this past Monday. It created 43 new slots. 13 of those slots were for infants, 21 were for toddlers. So we're really excited about that. That way they can, put more of our children in their care. We did do an employee spotlight. Shelley Donaldson, which is sitting over there next to Tiffany. She is our infant toddler specialist. She has actually been with us for over 6 years. She started as a client service specialist. She's in provider services now as our infant toddler specialist. She holds monthly trainings for our providers over all topics related to infant and toddlers. She also tag teams with all of our TRS mentors to go into the classroom to help the teachers set up their infant and toddler classroom. She also just kind of gives them some knowledge and pointers on, how to work with the stuff that they have inside their classroom. It increases the star levels of the providers. And then inside our actual office, she's also an exceptional team player. She's always willing to help where she's needed. She provides ideas and bringing motivation to her coworkers. She has an eye for people in need. She's always the first to help unload a truck, decorate for events, find families to donate to. And she's usually one of my first ones to sign up when we're doing community events. So she's a huge supporter. Let's see. We've added to our team tremendously. A lot of them are still in training. Client services got 2 new employees, Jasmine Wade and Angie Edwards. They're still in training. They're in their last 30 days of training, and then we'll see if they can hold a whole caseload. And then Melissa Eccles just joined our team. She will be a TRS mentor, but she is currently in training. She's also specialized in special education, so she's gonna take over the ECI trainings. She's actually already starting to prepare for those because CLI has been a little bit slow getting her started on her certification. So she's already brainstormed and came up with some ideas on how to do the ECI training. So she's already ahead of the game there. Some client service updates for our waiting list. As of August 21st, we have 152 children still on our wait list. Our estimated wait time for childcare services is 5 to 8 months. There's some numbers for performance and enrollment numbers. There's not a lot of data for total referrals or new referrals, I'm sorry. But enrollment as of August 8th, we have 1,098, but that number I can tell you is not what it is because we did a flash placement. It was held July 14th through 19th, and what we did is 237 people on our wait list were outreached. Of those clients, 128 children, we started care for them. So I look for those numbers in our enrollment to go way up next time they do it. Some of those numbers are not reflected in the numbers that are on this report because they're still being processed in the system at the time that this report came in. Our director's luncheon, it will be held September 17th, which is next week or 2. My brain is not working. It's going to be over category 2 for teacher-child interactions. And Adela San Juan and Mark Cisneros, which are our TRS mentors, they're going to be the ones that are doing the training. Our infant toddler training, those are held every month. Shelley Donaldson, she holds them, and she actually just held one Tuesday of this week, and she had 30 people in person show up. So they're loving her classes. All of the surveys that have came back have all been positive. They love how Shelley interacts with them, gets them up and moving. So it's not just a boring sitting down, watching people like me talk. So they love it. And then again, our ECI trainings, before we had did them quarterly, we're going to try to do them monthly. Once Melissa Eccles becomes certified as a TRS mentor, then she'll get right on track with that. Connections training, as Kayla stated, the next one is October 11th. And so we're looking forward to that. We did Frog Street curriculum as a part of our CCQ plan this year, where we bought curriculum for a lot of our providers who are using it. So what we did is we also offered a training where they could come in and train on that Frog Street curriculum. That was held here in the office, of the providers who did receive that curriculum. We had 4 classes. One was for infant, the next one was toddler, pre-kindergarten, and preschool. And there were 48 in-person total and 53 online participants. And I'm running out of voice. My voice is about to leave. So the community involvement and professional development, those are, I'm sure I missed some of them because we do a lot in the summer. So you can read on that. And then the events coming up are also the Vernon College Resource Fair we have in Vernon and Wichita Falls. It's leaving.
You're good, Donna. They can
Okay.
read the rest. Thank you. You did
You're
well.
Thank you.
Feel better.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Congratulations again to Shelley for being your spotlight team member.
See that report this week, Channel 3 did on childcare.
Yes, and that's a little bit what Kayla touched on. We have discussed, we get special funding from TWC on quality care. And so that's some of the discussions, you know, it's hard for us to give money to the daycares for staffing because of the longevity, you know, and sustainability.
To me,
But
it's just like, it's just gloom and doom.
well,
And you know, I know better, because I know what you all are doing and how you all are helping. And I just thought, they really didn't spend very much time.
well, and to be fair to them, there's a lot of childcare providers, of course, that are not under our umbrella. And so that's what we really work hard to try to get them to come up under us so that we can help kind of offset some of those things.
Well, you know, they were saying some kids it'd be 2 years before, what are parents gonna do, you know, they can't get, you know, their kids seen after. I mean, it just didn't, it wasn't balanced.
I know, I felt awful listening to it, I'll be honest
Yeah, I
with
did
you.
too.
Because I was like, oh, you know, we should be doing more, and but again, it's those providers that we do have under us, that's what these ladies do every day. Try to bring on those providers. There's certain regulations and guidelines, of course, that they have to abide by, and they may not want to do that. So that's why a lot of people they're not contracted with us, so to speak. But we've talked about ways of even assisting those who are contracted with us, because they face the same issues. But providing maybe incentives for their staff if they go through the CBA training, giving them bonuses. There's certain things that we have the flexibility to do with our funding. And so we're discussing some of those now to try to help with the retention, because it is a problem. There's a shortage of providers across the board, across the state, across the nation, quite honestly. So, yes, we saw that. So.
That's kind of why I touched on, you know, the staffing issues and everything, and that's why we try our hardest to be out in the community. Also, the providers that are not yet under our umbrella can see like how much they can benefit from, you know, contracting and being under our umbrella. Because I mean, not only do we offer quality childcare, those trainings, I mean, these ladies work so incredibly hard, and they're very, I mean, they're educated, they know what they're doing, and the providers end up benefiting from it. And so like, that's why we try to get ourselves out there as much as possible.
When I ride around in town and pass some of these places, you know, they've got these signs out, you know, we're a 5-star, you know, all that, and I just think, yep,
That's
you know,
us.
workforce,
That's us.
you know, they helped with that.
Okay, we work for it. Let's go.
And we're almost out of time. I'll be brief. Okay, so because of the hard work of the team, it does take a team. I'm not out there doing it all by myself. So we were able to help 1,200 people in June, about the same in July. And we do this by linking employers and job seekers. So the events that he was talking about, that's a lot of work. So I'm not going to go over all of the results, but I want to point out the summer job fair. That was July 10th in Iowa Park. We focus on our rural communities. We've never had it in Iowa Park. So again, we try to meet our customers where they are. We had 175 people show up. That's 175 lives we've changed and 43 employers. So again, it takes a lot of work. And I just want to reiterate that the work that we do matters. And we're helping employers and job seekers. So there's some pictures from the event. Again, the rural service delivery. We focus on those rural communities because they do need more support, and we are mostly rural in this area. Upcoming events, most of that has already happened. If you want to see what it's like to manage about 500, 600 people in a day, come to the Workforce Center next Wednesday. It should be nicely chaotic. No, I'm just kidding. They have like planned every detail of the event, and they have a backup plan, and then they have a backup plan for the backup plan, and all these contingencies. So I'm not even worried about it. We will have a lot of people though, so if you're want to see what it's like for a massive event, come to the center. So one of the lives that we changed, that's a success story, Shaquita Thomas. She was in both the Choices and the WIOA program. She did provide a statement. I'm not going to read it all, but I just want to read some of it. So many doors had been closed in my face, and I started to lose hope that anyone would give me a second chance. But the team at Workforce Solutions believed in me. And we didn't judge. She said they didn't judge me for my past. They focused on my potential. They connected me with employers who are willing to look beyond my record and see the motivated, hardworking person that I am. She just needed a second chance. That's why we're hosting a second chance job fair. That's why we're tapping into that population, because they do have value to offer. I mean, she's proof of it. So we put her in a subsidized employment at our Blood Institute. Yeah. And she said, I'm proof that with the right support, second chances are real and success is possible. So this is why we do what we do, so we can help people that just need that second chance. They just need a little bit of help. And we can help employers who need people. So, right, it's about connecting the two. Yeah. Employee spotlight, that is Tom of all trades. He was awesome. So, Leader Fest, this was a great event for our leadership team, and we listened to speakers and got motivated and excited, and that's hosted by the chamber. And the next thing is the Fall Thrive. So Lisa, I don't know if you want to talk about this. This was amazing, incredibly valuable, and very comical, actually. I'll just be honest.
That was last week. Y'all think we just sat behind the desk and don't do anything? That is not the case. It was incredibly eye-opening to go and experience what our customers experience. We did this a week ago Tuesday. We caught the bus. We finally got to the right bus stop outside my office down the street after, because you know there's like 3 right there. Look around. There's a lot of bus stops in this town. And so here we tried to come at it. If we were a customer and we got on a bus, how easy is it to ride the bus system? And we serve on a transportation committee with Nortex Regional Planning Commission, and it wasn't that easy. We were on the bus from about 9:10 to about 3 that afternoon. We took 5 or 6 buses. We went all over this town. It was great. It was a great experience. Crystal, I know I just started talking. It was amazing to see what they go through and how difficult some of the challenges are for our customers that have to ride the bus.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty smart ladies, and we're like, what bus do we need to be on at what time and to what bus stop? And it wasn't easy. And so knowing that it takes a couple hours to take this bus to get to work for our customers, I mean, that's helpful for us to make better decisions suggestions for improvement, things like that. So it was hilarious, but it was incredibly valuable.
I love it.
We really did ride all over, like those little routes that you see on the screen. We rode all over town. I didn't know there was that many stops and that many buses
And running from one bus to the next bus to make sure you didn't miss it, because otherwise you're waiting an hour. And so, and there's no shelters out there at a lot of those bus stops, and it was about 119 that day. It all was. We all did. But and we didn't even have, and I'll tell you, my husband knew what I was doing. So about noon, he calls me and he says, "Hey, honey, the daycare's called. You gotta go get the kids." And I said, "What?" He said, "The daycare's called. I can't go get them. You gotta go get the kids." And he said, "Remember, you wanted real life experience?" And I'm sitting there and I said, "Okay." And we had just gotten on a bus and I was like, "Oh my God, what would I do?" I would have, literally, this could happen to any of our people. And it was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to get off this bus and I'm gonna have to walk. But it would have taken me like 2 hours to get back to my daycare. And just seeing the challenges that realistically that they have to go through. And I told Crystal, I said, we really ought to make all of our case managers do this.
Yeah.
It would make them have a better understanding and even compassion. But hopefully we gave some good feedback to this committee of some changes that maybe the city can incorporate. There's grants and things that they can apply for, because you need money, I know, for everything, but we'll see. Hopefully we can make a difference. But it was fun.
It was awesome, and it's certainly better than walking in Texas. So
That's true.
and the last thing on my report is our survey results. We continue to ask how we're doing and what we can do better. So 91.18% positive.
This is a silly question on the bus riding. Did you have do they have cards?
I like the whole thing.
Cards?
That's a great question. There's an app. There's two apps actually. So there's an app to pay. And there's an app to monitor where the buses are. At least I didn't have the one. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, they're going down this street, running across. Yeah, it was, but knowing, not knowing all that. That's
you
what our
can't pay.
customers experience.
You can't just get on the bus and say, "Here's my 50 cents or $1.50. They won't take your money. So unless you have a phone or you can go down to the central hub down on Scott Street and buy you a pass. Well, if I had a car to get down there, I wouldn't need to be riding the bus to buy my ticket ahead of time. So it was just some different things like that we kind of learned.
And we didn't know how to make the bus stop. There's right? We're trying to really experience it. There's a cord on if you ever ride the bus, you have to cord.
There's yellow cords. We did not know that.
We thought maybe they stop at all the stops. We don't know.
It was a sight for us. And I will tell you, the bus drivers and the people on the bus, they could tell we were kind of out of our element. They were like, where do you need to go? And they were the nicest. We had the best time.
I used to make friends with everybody.
We did.
We got invited square dance lessons.
We did. We got invited to a square dance and then a barn dance. It was awesome. It was awesome. But yes, your leadership at work.
Well, now we go to rapid response. We were always gonna do this in the beginning. We
We
end on a
did.
bad note.
No, it's good.
It's a good note. Right, okay, you're up.
Today, it switched to another page. Anyway, so that there wasn't just one lone one on that next page. I went ahead and put all of the new ones on page 76. So on the back side where it's green, those are the ones that have come in since we met last. We were able to provide rapid response services. I know at the last meeting I mentioned there was one that was still confidential and everything. That was work services. The good news out of that one, they had to lay bad news first. They had to lay off 38 of their employees out of their food service due to federal funding cuts that came back in June. The good news is that they were able to nearly immediately hire all of them back. Y'all have, seen the turmoil and the, pull the funding, give the funding, all of that, and they were caught in that push-pull of that. So the good news is, while they were laid off, most of them, it was temporary, and they went back to work in July. And that layoff happened on June 25th, and they nearly all went back to work. The rest of them, you have probably seen in the news. Most of them were, just a single person or a handful of people, small businesses. We have not seen any, large layoffs, this summer, which is good. And even the ones that are on here, Carrie's Corner, that's just down the street from where I live, they have not shut the doors. Those people, they're still operating. The way I understand it is that the building sold, but the new owners, they're keeping it in operation. They're still kind of in limbo. It may close, it may, but at this time, they have not gone through a layoff. Mazio's, that one was a quick closure due to lease issues. But there is not a plan to reopen, but they were closed with Tom, because he does everything, all sorts of things. He reached out and was not able to, I think he made contact with someone, but there was nobody left in management, and so they couldn't authorize us coming in or anything, but we did, let them know how we could help. And then Claire's, they have posted closure. I believe, October 31st is their projected close date. Of course, they're in the mall. So we're gonna continue seeing more of those, but, that's where we're at.
Well, you've got the-
The last, and then the last page, I did provide this in June, that if you did not scan the QR code, do that. The chamber put together, positive notes, between the expansions and new businesses coming into town. Of course, y'all heard, some of that throughout today with the WINFO and, some of the other things that we're involved in.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we will adjourn the meeting. It is 1:08. And our next board meeting is October 23rd. We will see you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have a great Labor Day weekend.